Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, hey. I'm Pali Palavathanan, co-founder and creative director of London-based studio Templo. So I will be going through our rebrand that we did for GFSmith, plus a little funny analysis at the end. But before that, I think it's worth doing a little handshake. So firstly, we are a cause-led branding and communication agency committed to using the positive power for social change. And then really, we cut our teeth when we launched in the human rights space, and then starting with the Sri Lankan human rights violations. And then that took us into United Nations. We have some of them here today, which is exciting. And then we went into climate change, anti-corruption, community regeneration. And then naturally, what's happening now is we're trying to take all the learning and bring it into the commercial space. So, almost 2 years ago today, we got an email from Ben Watkinson, the global brand director at GFSmith. And really, we were a bit confused in the studio because, really, we thought they weren't for us, we weren't for them. And, but we entertained it, we're nice people. And what was supposed to be a 30-minute conversation in the studio led to a 3-hour sort of love story, really, and our sort of cheeks were aching, and it could have been a really good date, if you were, And then this is going to piss off a lot of people in the studio, but I'm boiling a lot of months of work down into a single sentence. But really, we got down to a positioning of GFSmith feel-good papers, and that really, we like the duality of that. So I'm just going to play, we're going to get into the creative now. I'm going to play you a little video. So by doing such a radical change, what we were able to do is take that warmth, that human spirit, and that can-do attitude that GFSmith is all about, and pit that against that rebellious attitude against the faceless PLCs that are predominant in the space. And then what we have here is a living, breathing symbol that we call Smithy. And there's an omnidirectional function to the logo as well, so it comes in handy when you're co-branding, so it looks towards its counterpart. The color bit was easy, obviously. We just extracted that from the paper itself and then used that in different combinations. A studio like us brought some expertise in what would be more culturally appropriate, so we canceled some of the colors as well. Baghdad brown, I'm not sure that was the first to go, obviously. And then you'll notice this more human-centered typeface. So we collaborated with French type foundry Blaze Type just to add some more curvature to the letter forms themselves. And then this was one of the first ideas that we wanted to make sure that we got into the final concept. So rather than referencing typeface by bold, regular, light, we took the weightage of the paper itself and used that in reference. So 1400 GSM being the heaviest and the 100 GSM for the lightest. And then these are just nice things we can do, like smiling sentences, which you can see in the stationery that we've done. And then you can take that feel-good papers and seat that into a single sheet of paper as well. And then even the back of the envelopes. I did a talk the other day, and then the first hand that went up, it was like, you curved gum on the back. It's quite a technical feat, that one. But then you can take all that color, imagery, typeface, and this is what you can do with it, really simply. We also had this portal device as well, this single sheet of paper that contains imagery and video. or you can use it as a stethoscope, or like a microscope as well to see what something's made of. And then this is what we're starting to do. We're starting to tap into this, the themes of the charitable trust, which I'll reference later, where you can open up things like people having everyone having access to the arts and creativity. So going back to that first conversation I had with Ben in the studio, really what he was doing was he was lifting the lid, this really beautiful veneer that they had for about 10 years, and we were really unearthing the heart and soul of GFSmith. So really, nothing represents that more than the factory in Hull. So what we did was we obviously added a lick of paint, but we also used that awkward boxing, and used a truncated version of the manifesto. And really, the factory itself is based in one of the most deprived areas of the UK, in Hull, so HU2 postcode. So this is really a symbolic shift, a sort of beacon. And then internally, what we did was we took some of the full extended manifesto and draped those on banners. And then we did the ream wrap. It's quite exciting to do a ream wrap. And then used that omnidirectional logos to look towards the address it's being delivered to. Uniforms. And then we also wanted to use the factory as a showcase for color flutes. So color flute's an amazing material that GFSmith do. So it's color plan either side with a corrugated bit in the middle. So especially if we're moving away from single-use plastics, more sustainable materials, I think we wanted to showcase this somehow. So using like large numerals. And then we developed, most of this stuff I'm going to show you, by the way, we weren't briefed on. But for sure, we wanted to do wayfinding using color flute. So that runs throughout the factory. And each of those boxes, they're beautiful, by the way, just so well made, screen printed, and they've all got magnetic clippings on it, so they all sort of fit together really easily as well. Obviously, paper's fucking old. I don't know if you noticed. So one of the things that we needed to do was make sure that it's reflected in a digital sense as well. So whether it was rigging that smiling paper in 3D internally in the studio, or then handing that to our digital counterparts made by On, where they made this configuration space, and you could add the curvature, you could manipulate the curvature, add texture, change the color, etc., which feeds into the main website. And then stuff that we're doing in the studio as well. So this is for public exhibitions and installations that we're doing. We just did one in Shanghai where you're physically embodying the brand. That's Lee, our very friendly designer from Vietnam. And then so given where we've emanated from, the work that we do, really, it's really important in terms of authenticity that the goodness is not, it's not perception of goodness, but it's actually through action, really, and doing things the right way. So this was really the big pull for us. GFSmith are sort of crystallizing all the decades of work that they've been doing in the local community in Hull, but also around the UK, into the GFSmith Charitable Trust. So that needs to percolate. We put that to one side. There's some other things that we were doing as well to help feed that back into the Charitable Trust, starting off with some really interesting partnerships. So one with Pangaea, you guys know Pangaea, materials company, science company, and so they do amazing apparel, which we wanted to do and which feeds back into the Charitable Trust. We use some of the swing tags with off-cut, which is where they take all the pulp. They pulp all the offcuts from the factory, floor waste, and then put it back into a really sustainable material. And then Nalgene as well. So obviously they use Triton, which is really good for the planet as well. So we wanted to do those kind of things that fed into a larger sort of vision. So this is part where I say that collectively as an agency, but also as GFSmith, we wanted to make sure that any sort of like books, sample books being made in the future were not just for decoration. They're not an ornament company. So rather than standing on a bookshelf somewhere, we wanted it to be played with and explored and actually used. So I'm going to show you two books. One is the Caribbean. You've seen maybe both of them outside already. In fact, we wanted this simple, really easy to use, like throw in a bag swatch book that you can sort of hold or clip onto your belt loop. And then they all come in a recessed into a color flute boxing. And each of the sample sheets are perforated as well, so it encourages this, right? That exploration, that play. And really, we're thinking about those three audiences: designers, printers, and the sales team at GFSmith. Now, the second object that we designed is a much larger one. It's limited edition. It's a limited edition because it's fucking hard to make. We think it now. I still want someone to DM me if this is not true. So I'm prepared to change this. But we think it's the first time lay flat and curved ram punching has been done before. So please stop me in my tracks if that's not the case. But really, we wanted to design something that was hard to put down, so you can see the propensity of this object, just a really playful, silly thing, like a sort of fidget toy, if you like. And they're available in 5 covers, all using GFSmith color plan extracted. And we've redesigned everything, so not just the charts themselves, but we've included loads of information about the GFSmith services, and it's all in 16 languages as well. And these are just some nice shots. And this is a reminder for me to tell you guys, exclusively available, all color plan is exclusively available in the USA through Legion Paper, and they're outside handing out goodies if you haven't got one yet. So tote bag, Caribbean, etc. Not the Smile book. Hands off. So I'm almost done in terms of the rebrand itself. So one thing that we wanted to do was create a film that touched on some of the charitable trust themes. And really, this is inspired by a personal story of mine. I grew up as a child refugee, and by the time I was 13, I had moved 20 times, no lie. And every time I moved to a new school, instinctively, no one told me to do this, instinctively I would grab a sheet of paper and start drawing. A, to escape, but B, to maybe signal that I existed and there was more to me. So we had this sort of idea that we would start off with a boy's room that's white, super white and stark, and as he's getting lost in his thought process and creativity, slowly the walls around him are being filled with color and paper. So it's really a metaphor that you can climb the ladder, climb out of difficult situations through creativity. So I'm just going to play that now. So, thank you. So just to end off, just a little bit of poking fun at the commentary. So obviously the rebrand has sparked lots of dialogue, conversation, and debate, right? You could say it went viral. It's fine. One thing's for sure, there's sound to this, by the way. There's a lot of sound to this. one thing's for sure, there was a lot of hyperbolic commentary as well. I think she was having a bad day. It's not that bad. But, you know, we definitely pissed off a lot of Smiths. There's more to this, by the way. I just couldn't cram them in. I wanted you to read them all. So, which made me think of this.
Oh, wow. Wow. I change him.
Name Smith.
Out your fucking mouth!
I'm going to.
That should be a lot louder, by the way. I'm not sure what's going on. But semi-seriously, though, there were this uncomfortable undercurrent in some of the negativity, referencing race, class, monarchy, religion. You know, what does British mean? And that was interesting to analyze, really, and explore. And what happened was, from that, there's a... I think this summed it up the most. You know, whoever signed this off, torn down a church and replaced it with bouncy castles. But that was the point. Like, me and the client looked at each other like, yeah, this person got it, but ironically didn't get it. Anyway. But, you know, like, overall, you know, it was amazing to see the positivity of it. And what was interesting, actually, this is the most interesting bit, how the sort of community came together to sort of analyze a toxicity at which we respond to things as well. And I couldn't, you know, like, we couldn't predict that this kind of long form articles started coming out, people spending time writing and analyzing our response to things like this and actually not critiquing what's underneath and where, you know, the project comes from and the original brief, etc. But this is what we wanted, you know, turning fans into actual creators, you know, handing over the brand to others to not be this precious thing that you don't touch and put it on a shelf, but actually something that gets used and played with. And then I'm just going to finish off with a little story. So the week of the rebrand, right? Obviously, it was intense. And I'm lying down in my bed, 3 a.m., which happens often, and my phone pings, and I was like, Brian Collins. What? This is stupid. And, you know, like, this crushed my heart. Honestly, this crushed my heart. Is anyone from Collins here? Someone. Yeah. And no, really, honestly, like, he's like one of my, like, idols in the industry, and I was like, oh, fuck. I've pissed off Brian. And then I was like, wait, hold on, I'm going to get him back. Because I know, sadly, that on the Collins website, they got 101 design rules. And I was like, right, I'm going to clip this, give it back to him. Is there sound on this? There needs to be sound on this. Anyway. And I was like, I copy and pasted it. And rule number 42, if someone publicly attacks you or your work, consider it a blessing and thank them when they arrive.
Got him!
I spent a lot of time on these sounds. And then I was about to clip it back to him, right? Post it back to him. And then I was like, wait, hold on. It says read more. So it says, this is stupid. And I love stupid. Yeah, And I think that's a nice way to end. Thank you.